Wednesday. This is going to be our Ghetto Fairy Friday, and we have a mystic of the week. My guest Tobi, and
Hello.
here to share his vibes, his wisdom with you guys. So he is a special guest. So welcome everybody. Make sure you guys like this live stream, share it with someone. If you do watch the replay, still show some love, like, share, comment. I hope she didn't lock my dog out. Today's been so crazy. Today's been so crazy. Technology, all kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure my sister probably locked my dog out.
Oh no.
Maybe she did. I don't know. That's weird. Have you ever had somebody like tapping at the door before? That's kind of weird.
You
That's
know,
there.
I feel like I've experienced something like that before, but you know what? I usually interpret it as like a spirit kind of like coming to your door. And usually
Yeah,
when that happens, I'm just like, I'm not opening that door.
it was
I'm,
weird. I was at the door. That was weird. But I want you to share, like, tell the audience a little bit about you, what you do.
yeah, I can do that. Hi everyone, my name is Tobi Luar. aka the Rainbow Empath. You can find me a little bit on here on YouTube, but you'll mainly find me on Instagram. I am a psychic channel and healer. Most of the time, you will, if you happen to see me in person, out and about out here in Phoenix, Arizona, I am a tarot reader, so that is primarily one of the things you'll see me when I'm out in public, as a service that I offer. But services that I typically offer and what I usually do is I am a shadow work practitioner. I am also an energy healer. When I am doing tarot, I like to do in depth readings and help people have a better understanding of how to connect to their journey of life in the sense of how to find the best path that works for them and essentially make that happen in any way possible. I'm also a spirit teacher as well. I do hold space for classes that I teach. I currently am teaching a mini tarot class, and then as well, I'll be holding space next year for my upcoming program, Conscious Power, which is a beginner psychic development course in psychic understandings. And then the last little thing I also do is I make my own spirit products too. I make aura sprays with all natural essential oils. I infuse it with my own energy and alchemy, each one intention based, and helping people kind of introduce magic or in support of magic in their everyday life in whatever facet they may need. And also teaching people too that magic is not limited to just us, it's for everyone. As long as you have an open mind and open heart, magic is accessible to everyone. Even when we say like it's not, it is.
Mhm.
And so I feel like that's what I try to do my best for is teach others how accessible magic is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I do have some questions for you, Toby, that I feel like would be fitting for you. Like, you know, answer it as freely and openly. Like, I wanted to ask you, and I think we discussed this like when we first met, like misconceptions
I
about,
do.
but are there any like common, or at least to you, like common misconceptions about like psychic work or energy healing that you would like to clarify or like touch on?
Okay, I feel like so one thing's for certain, and I feel like this comes with a lot of the times us who carry religious trauma is that psychic work is not the devil's work.
Hmm.
Psychic work is literally allowing ourselves to tap into our intuitive system that we all as human beings have access to. And that's the other thing I also want to tap into is psychic and psychic work is not limited to people who are interested or who are considered natural born. But which, yes, there are people out there that they came into this world and are very naturally gifted when it comes to psychic work. Now, whether or not they're able to navigate it, that's a whole other different story.
Yeah.
But psychic work is not limited to just people who have natural born abilities. Psychic work is for anybody as long as you have an open mind, but also to, I like to say there's certain keys you have to have with you to dive into psychic work. One of them is definitely an open mind. The other is curiosity. Curiosity is your best friend when it comes to psychic work. Have a good head on your shoulders in the sense of definitely discernment is going to be a big part of psychic work. So making sure that you feel very in tune with your own moral compass and values and what and how you define the world around you. Because what your inherent truth is going to be very different from someone else's inherent truth. So I would definitely say that too, as well, is that when it comes to this work, not all messages are going to be the same, but the way you know the message is truly for you is there is a consistent theme, not just in when you're receiving. If you ask for help from your fellow mystic or your fellow psychic and they share a similar message,
Mm-hmm.
then not only are they on the same wavelength as you are, at the same time, this message is true. Versus when we see that there's entirely different message coming up, then maybe the connection is not there. And that's where, and the only reason why I say that is because I'm not here to bash or ban on people who are like, whether they're real or fake psychics, but like, I always like to say, if you get something entirely different and it doesn't resonate, the connection's not there.
Yeah.
That's not your person. That's not who you're meant to work with. But yeah, I feel like that's the most common misconception when it comes to spirit work is that of the devil. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone when it is for everyone. And I feel like the last thing I want to add on to that too is also that um psychic work and tapping into it, there there is no limit to it. The only limit is our human cognition. And
Mm-hmm.
so even the us that is trying to break down how psychic work like and how psychicism is interpreted, it only goes so far. Yeah, we have some beautiful scientists out there that have proven some of the amazing phenomenon that is psychic work. But also, too, there's still plenty of things that are unexplained to this moment in time and can only be explained through the lens of quantum metaphysics. So I feel like as long as you keep an open mind, you will have fun.
I agree. Yeah. What you said, like as far as one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's of the devil, because essentially, like everybody has like some level of a spiritual gift, discernment. You know what I mean? Intuition. So it's the way that we use it is all it varies, but to say that it's all labeled as like the devil, yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of that just comes from when we step into this, the very first thing that a lot of I feel like even when I deal with my students is they immediately want to know who their spirit guides are. And I'm just like, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're probably not gonna figure that out until you deepen your relationship.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to figure out who your spirit guides are. And even then, you might not figure that out until at a different point in your journey.
Yeah.
But ultimately, our spirit guides are, it's a collection. It's a collection of knowledge from spirits being our ancestors, spirits
Mhm.
being past life versions of us. It can even, if we are also following along with the understanding of quantum metaphysics as well, alternative reality versions of us, angels, deities, anything that we are openly consciously connected to has room to fall into the space of spirit guide. But
Yeah.
ultimately, spirit guide is just a spirit that's never going to leave your side. Now, there can be a rotation that can happen where, like, instead of it being like an angel, it could be an ancestor speaking to you. But the only way you're going to be able to identify that is by one, strengthening your relationship between you and your inner psyche and you and your intuition. And then, as well, not only making that a continual practice, allowing that to also be a very much a part of your life. Because I feel like that's the other, like, add on to this is that when people see the mystics and they see this type of work, they assume it's a form of religion when it's not. Spirituality is open and free. There are no restrictions. Those of us who do put restrictions on us is coming from a place of control.
Mm.
So, like, when we see spirituality, spirituality is a lifestyle. You live and breathe it every single day because it's an experience. So that's, I always say, like, that's the best way to approach everything, but it's having faith and trusting yourself, because the way I always like to, because when we dive into channeling with my students, I always like to let them know is your biggest system of knowledge and inner wisdom is going to come from you trusting yourself. The more you trust yourself and know thyself, the stronger you are in connecting with spirit. And as well, tend to yourself too. Healing
Mhm.
is going to be one big aspect of it too. If you got a lot of trauma, you got a lot of emotions, it's not to say you're not going to have an experience. You will have experiences. But if you want to have deeper experiences, you also got to do the work and be willing to do the work. If you are resistant to change and and want to be in a constant state of wherever you're at and your own comfortability in that state, that's okay, but that's as far as you're going to go. If you
Yeah.
want to go farther, you have to embrace change.
You gotta go
Embrace
deep.
the healing journey.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Most definitely. Yeah. That was actually something that I feel like a lot of misconceptions around spirit guides and ancestors, like they're all one and the same. Like you said, they can be interchanged. They could be a deity. It could be a dragon. It could be
Hmm.
a mermaid. It could be, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
mhm,
That I feel that way 100,000%. And something that also too, I feel like, I remember talking about this with my soul sister one day, is that um everything that is within our inherent spirit channel too, within our guides, is an extension of us in the end of the day.
mhm,
Because when we look at spirit in its most raw form, we are all just fragments of the universe. And because, since we're all fragments of the universe having this amazing experience through this human vessel and through this human lens, um, we are still connected to that, like literally interconnective web and ocean that is the universe. And so because of that, that includes everything. That includes dragons, it includes mermaids, it includes our angels, deities. There's an aspect within, there's an energy within each of the fragments, even on a spiritual level, that resonate with us. And that's how they're able to connect. So the way I always like to see it is there's a little bit of you in them, and then a little bit in them. It's within you. That's why you're able to connect. That's why also to trusting thyself and knowing thyself is so important,
mhm.
because that's how we are able to lead forward in this work.
Yeah, I like that. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. like why we're connected to certain things and certain people too. So that makes a lot of sense because we are a fabric being of source. So like little pieces of, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I also wanted you to, as a part of the queer community, like how important it is for you in the spiritual space. Emphasizing how you like to create a safe environment or safe and inclusive space. Why is that important as far as like spiritual work for you? Like as far as personally for you?
I feel like and I feel like this very much also falls into my own queer experience too, is I remember too growing up like in spirit spaces and also when I first encountered spirit spaces. It wasn't easy. It's not easy. First off, being male and being a mystic. Um, Especially when a lot of times when people think, "Oh, I'm gonna go see my tarot reader," they usually think, "Oh, I'm gonna go see a woman."
Yeah,
They usually don't think of a man. They never image or perceive the image of a man. And so for me, I always feel like having a safe space is so sacred and important as a queer practitioner because I want to make sure whoever I'm working with, I want to let them know that my I am solely here to honor your energy at the end of the day. I see you more than just a human being, but I'm also going to respect the human being that you are because we live in a world where, especially right now in my fellow queer community, we're being attacked again, all over again. And it's hard. And if we can just have a moment within our community or within our fellow members that shows us a bit of love and kindness and is not judgmental, I feel like that's enough. I
yeah,
feel like that is literally enough. And I feel like that is what I always try to do for everyone, whether you're queer or heterosexual in any way, shape, or form. I am not going to judge you in any way, shape, or form. If you come into my space and if at any moment I don't know your pronouns, my first instance is I'm going to say they only for the fact of I want to honor you. And if someone's just like, oh, let me correct that, please go ahead and correct me if I continue saying they, you don't like me saying they. But I'm gonna say that because I wanna make sure I'm not I'm not putting anyone down, and I'm still honoring that person in every facet, in every way possible that I can. But also too, I think the other thing is that sometimes, when we dive into our spirit spaces, I feel like a lot of times, although we're so open, there's still this sense of, well, this is not for me. And
mm,
so, as a queer practitioner, I'm here letting you know that it is for you. Spirituality is for everyone. And also, too, when it comes to mysticism, it's for you too. Some of the most powerful mystics were queer. And even on a cultural aspect, too, we as queer people, we're seen as the magicians, we're seen as the mystics. We're
mm.
seen in that facet because we hold the essence of duality within our being. And
That's
so I feel
yeah,
like that's what I try to do for my people. And also too, I feel like that's kind of what encompasses even the name of my business, which is Rainbow Empath. It's for everyone. I'm I'm here for all people, all frequencies of all genders and all love. As long as you come with the frequency of I am open to receive, so you shall.
yeah. It's interesting that you said the duality thing because I thought about that. I don't. I had a download, and I don't know if I have it still written down, but I had a channel, and I held myself back because I'm like, I don't feel like it's my place to speak and read on like for the queer. community, but I was getting like this download, and I was like, the reason why I believe they're so intuitive, a lot of people I come across that are queer, they do have this, of course, a duality of energy. Like they can exist in multifaceted, different energies, not just femininity, masculinity, but like creative expression. You know what I'm saying? So like, I noticed this about like Gemini people. I say like Geminis are like underratedly spiritually gifted people because they exist in two realms at once almost sometimes. So yeah, that's interesting that you said that. Um, so how can more marginalized communities of any kind reclaim their spiritual practices that maybe have been overlooked or maybe even appropriated?
Ooh, I feel like that kind of falls into the same category of systematically breaking apart your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is break apart the viewpoint and stigma that comes from not only your community, but also to what comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for an example, I'm going to speak on the behalf of my fellow Latinos. A lot of time when we step into this space, the immediate reaction is bruja, brujo, and that it's bad. And when we consider that energy, a lot of times that immediately puts us in that stigma mindset of then I don't want to pursue this any further because I don't want to be judged or prejudiced in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is that unless your intention is to walk that path, then that label and that word is not for you.
Yeah.
Unless that is something you consciously are doing, allow it to empower you. Allow it to empower you. But if you're like me, where I was just like, no, I don't want to practice my culture's magia yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would say now that I've gone through my own journey, I have embraced it in my own facet. But that had to come from me, and also too, I had to not only destigmatize the way I approached it, I felt like to like I feel like the one of my favorite authors I like to look up towards from her previous work that really shines light on this is Juliet Diaz. And one of the things that she always likes to preach when it comes to magic is especially us as Latinos, we must decolonialize how we approach magic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when we say decolonialize, it's literally break apart how we think about magic. And again, magic is for everyone. And that includes even if we are practicing our culture's magic too, you're allowed to dive into that. There is so much wisdom that comes from magia and that comes from brujeria and curanderism, but also too, you do not have to follow to the
Mm-hmm.
T how everything is done and operated. There are aspects of honorization where I'm like, yes, let's continue that tradition. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there are other aspects where we don't have to continue following those things. I feel like a lot of times in a cultural and marginalized perspective, we are pushed to constantly connect to the spirits of the specific cultures. Like whenever people are diving into brujeria or diving into magia in general, especially in the Hispanic community, I feel like a lot of times we are pushed to connect to saints, connect to La Santa Muerte, and sometimes it's not for everyone. Not people don't want to connect to saints because of religious trauma. People don't want to connect to the Santa Muerte because of literally, literally stigma.
Mhm.
And so if you overcome the stigma, power to you and power to you to still even have those things within your practice if you consciously choose. Because again, this is where coming from a place of non-judgment. But also too, a lot of times, let's say you're in that space and you're just like, but I don't resonate with any of these things. What do? Then you allow yourself to connect with your inner self. You allow yourself to connect to your spirit guides. This is where we now build that room for trust. We build that room for the community. But also too, I feel like find your community. Allow yourself to speak to your community. Never be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
When you step into a spirit space, ask questions. Please. I feel like that's the number one thing I feel like we in our community struggle so much with is when
Mhm.
we step into this space, no matter what the cost is, whether it's affordable or not affordable, we're afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
And I seen that as someone who not only as a practitioner, but who's also worked in spirit spaces. I've
Mm.
worked at my fellow local crystal shops. I've worked in a lot of those spaces. And a lot of times, yeah, people are asking like, "Oh, I want this, I want that." I'm just like, "Okay," but sometimes you can see a little bit like I've had those moments where I'm like, I can see a little bit that lost in their face. I'm like, "So
Mhm.
what are you doing? What are you trying to accomplish?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm doing this and this and that." And I'm like, Girl, I'm gonna." I always come in with so much love when I'm just like, I see you. I see what you're trying to do, but you have a little bit of a mess going on here in this basket,
Mhm.
in a little basket or cart. I'm like, there's a little mess here. I don't think. Let me help you if you
Mhm.
want help. But also too, there's moments too where like I'll approach someone and be like, oh, like what are you looking for? And a lot of times that's where people get stuck too. Is they're like they don't know what they're looking for. And
Mhm.
so I always say, if you don't know what you're looking for, what's your intention? Because I feel like one thing when especially when we're trying to ask questions too, we're always stuck because we're like, I don't even know what to ask. And be like, well, what's your intention? What brought you here to begin with? And
Mhm.
if your curiosity is, well, I'm here because I want to understand crystals, I'm like, okay, then let's have a conversation about crystals. If they're here and they're just like, I want to understand how to protect my energy and be like, okay, let's talk about it. And the only way you're going to be able to get that information again is by asking questions. I
Yeah.
feel like we as fellow members within our community already have so much knowledge and wisdom to share, but it's not being spread, not because we're not on here or we're not on other social media platforms, it's because no one's asking.
True.
No one is willing to ask the question.
Mhm.
And that's where you have to allow a little bit of humility and your inner strength to come through and just simply ask. And be okay if the rejection answer is no or I don't know.
I
And
don't.
then and that's okay. Keep asking until someone does. You will get connected to someone who has an answer. Because someone out there does have the answer.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
again, we are an interconnected system. We are all aligned in our own special way. But I feel like that is always one of the biggest issues within our community that is a struggle. And also, and is a struggle as in the sense of accessibility to knowledge.
Mhm.
Because I feel like a lot of times when we see things like, I'm originally from LA, a lot of times you see there's a price point behind that knowledge. You
Mhm.
got to pay for that knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, you can simply, if you don't always have to pay for it. Knowledge is free and accessible if you ask for it.
Right. Yeah. Whatever you're
So
seeking, you find it.
exactly. And so I feel like when it comes to everything, face your fears, definitely. Allow
Mhm.
yourself to understand why you're afraid of what you're afraid of.
Yeah.
And also to it's okay to ask for help, especially for and I say that especially for all my little babies out there, all my beginning psychics, all my beginning healers, all my beginning readers, all of you that are stepping into this space for the first time. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Come with that curiosity, come with that childlike wonder, come with it because there's freedom with that answer. And if you want access to it, you just gotta ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Even with like magic, like when people are like trying to do spells, like basically, because I think we also have this conversation about like taken from traditions that resonate, but like there's also your magic inside of you that you our ancestors they had traditions because it came to them, you know what I mean? It
Mhm.
they applied that and they passed that down, but your magic starts within and that childlike energy. I always say like when you're creating things, because some people might be like, oh, that's just honey, that's just a honey jar. But you're infusing it with your freedom, your imagination, and your flow, what you're conjuring within your like what are you trying to conjure within yourself that you're guided to. So we can watch TikTok, oh, do this, do that, but it really is what infuses the energy is you and you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's so true. Which I feel like that's again the thing that we forget sometimes.
Mhm.
And I think also too, and I feel like what I'm about to say can be like rock the boat a little bit, but I've seen this time and time again,
Mhm.
is because I work with everybody. I work with everybody. I've literally seen the rainbow of people who've worked with me. And one of the common things that happens is my baby witches.
Mhm.
And every time they're working with me, yeah, I'm teaching them all the basics, but they're just like, okay, well, I want to do this spell. Does that mean I'm ready for my deity and for them to come in and help me do my spell? And I'm just like, you don't need a deity to cast a spell.
Right.
It's not to say that that's wrong. It's not to say that people who do have access to that or have that relationship are
Mhm.
less. It's to say that you're limiting your perspective.
That
You're
depends.
limiting your vision.
Yeah. It's like jumping from religion, like again, like not being disrespectful, but like Jesus, right? And then you jump to so I've learned that too, like even with working with certain deities or ancestors to not put them in that position of like they're gonna do all the work for me. I'm just gonna wait for them to come in. Like they're there to guide and assist if needed. If you're both drawn, you're both called to it. But it does all. It starts with you. You know what I mean, and where you're at with yourself, and like whether you need to do shadow work because some people think, oh, I could just do a money spell, but what's your relationship like with money? And I've learned this within myself. When you do love work, where is your energy with love with yourself? Like you trying to call in a man or a woman, or you're trying to attach a specific person. Why are you trying to do that when you could be manifesting something that resonates with you already? You know what I'm saying? Instead of limiting it and condensing it, you know. So, and some
Exactly.
people like that woman might have been successful, that man might have been successful with that piece of work, but your level of work might be something different. Like not everybody's called to do a honey jar for, some people are meant to work with water elements, So
Mm-hmm.
it's very layered, but it's all about again intuition and trusting yourself. Might seem a little crazy, like why am I guided to do this? But that's part of it, it's part of the process. But yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And um I feel like that's where the wealth of knowledge comes in. Is
Hmm.
when we allow ourselves to not only be open to it, but also to support. Like, don't just do the magic, support your magic. Because your magic is simply there to support you.
Hmm.
And basically, the way I always like to see it is it is any elemental energy adding more. If we like to see it as a fire, it's simply our magic is the ignition, and then we're holding the fuel.
Mhm.
And the same thing goes with any other energy. It's like if it's earth, it's like our magic is the seed, we are the fertile soil.
Mhm.
Water, we are just the simple container, and magic is what's filling our cup.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on and so forth. It continues and it grows and it lets us go in the direction of what we need. But also too, I feel like on the end of the day is it all comes to, are you open to allowing yourself to embrace you and embrace change? Because if you're not willing to change, then magic's not going to help you.
Yeah.
And
That's
also too, like you said too, limiting, like if you have limiting beliefs. If you carry limiting beliefs, so you'll stay. If you're asking for money and always are constantly in the mindset of I don't have enough, that's exactly what will happen. But if
yeah.
you don't understand that you are enough, you have enough, and you will always have access to enough, now
Mm.
you're changing the narrative. You're creating a new story. And that is opening room for you to actually obtain the things that you want.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah, because it's like a candle ain't gonna do the work for you alone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
Light it, but yeah. So lastly, I always ask this to my guests. I ask, I'm gonna ask you because you kind of already explained what a mystic is per se, but I'm gonna ask you, what is it that makes you mystical in you know, your own words?
I feel like the thing that makes me mystical is I am always open to love my fellow human being, and I'm always open in believing in what stands before me. So my vision is open, my heart is open,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's where a lot of my magic lies, is in those two things. I come to this reality with an open heart and an open mind. And that's all I need. And that's the thing that also allows me to connect to all the things I have access to, is that I'm willing to love that experience and willing to see it through and allow myself to be open towards it too. So I feel like that's the thing that allows me to be the mystic that I am. And curiosity. I feel like that's the last thing. I'm always curious. And I feel like those are my keys. My curiosity to not only just be the mystic, but also be the student still.
Mhm.
And also to have a lot of love to give. And I have so much to learn.
Yeah. Well said. I appreciate you, Toby. I have your
Thank
information
you.
on the description box so people can find you. So make sure you guys stay in touch with Toby. I look forward to bringing some guests back, maybe not for this particular segment, but just lives in general to share their knowledge and wisdom and stuff like is needed in this time. I really do. Like healers, whatever we want to label ourselves, multifaceted levels of ourselves. I feel like the collective of people that are seeking, that have questions, they don't know where to find it, and need that safe space to land and find those people that are meant for them. So I would love to have you back on again, and I appreciate you for accepting
Mm,
to come on as a guest. I appreciate you. It's
thank
been
you.
such Toby. So stay in touch, please do. Okay,
Want
and
to.
we'll talk soon. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I'm gonna stay on and probably do a collective read. So um, yeah, if you want to like watch or do whatever you want to do, but I appreciate your time. I really do. So, yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Sure, y'all like and share the video, share it with someone. Like I said, stay in touch with Toby. He's a wonderful being. When did we meet? Like a week or two ago? I think
Yeah, and it was
Halloween.
on the. It was right on Halloween.
Mhm. Yeah. So I wanted to have him on. So I resonated with him, and I just felt guided to have you on. So I appreciate your time
Thank
and
you
your
so
love,
much.
your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Many blessings. Bye.
Okay. Alrighty, y'all. I'm gonna do a live read. It's been so long. I don't know. I've been MIA. I've been MIA. Been busy. I'm kind of tired, but I'm like, I like to keep my word. Okay. One way or another. Like, if I gotta reschedule some things, I will. But, like, if I said I'm gonna do a live reading tonight, I will, unless, like, I really just can't do it. So I'm here. We here. We're live. So we're gonna tap in. So maybe briefly, Toby did have some good points. Definitely some things that I feel like are key, especially when it comes to like your spiritual journey. I feel like one of the biggest things that people want to know is, hey sis, how are you? Yeah, I've been at MIA. I know. Hold on. Yeah, I've been MIA. I know. I've been gone, y'all. Can't do my lives like I used to. But yeah, it's been busy, but it's okay. I'm still available for personals, but like the lives and stuff like that, like my schedule is changed. So just check in with me. But I feel like off topic. I just got off topic. One of the things I feel like that are very very key in the spiritual journey is like people have all these questions, and sometimes it is like a question out there for you or a person that has the question. But I always say, like, at the end of the day, though, it's always going to lead you back to yourself. Like any information or any guidance that you seek outside of yourself is going to answer something that either you already know within you, like your own confirmation, or it's going to um just be something like within yourself that you find. Like spirit will always lead you to what you need when it comes to your spiritual work. Like sometimes people try to bypass the shadow work aspect, like thinking, because that misconception that we were talking about, that you can just, oh, I'm just gonna do a spell. I'm just gonna do, like, you can't just spiritually bypass certain levels. Like, I know people will have you to believe that you could just conjure and do a spell, and like some people have this thing where they want to put spells on people. They want to hex people because somebody made them mad or because they're jealous and intentionally go after certain people. But it's like, why not take all that energy and put it into something constructive? If you're going to use your magic, why not do it to fix some things, change some laws, some real justice work, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like what are you getting at, or protection work. So anything that we do, I feel like the most powerful work is when you're in tune with your energy. You can take a formula from somebody else. Yeah, certain things can work. You can take some things, take it or leave it. Um, you can also be inspired by certain things traditionally, like what Toby was saying, how um, in certain communities, certain spiritualities, certain spiritual faiths or religions are central to those cultures, where some people might not resonate with that. Like, just because you come from, I don't know, let's say Haiti, does not necessarily mean by default you resonate with voodoo or voodoo, or it's not always going to resonate with you. That may not be for you. Um, there might be certain aspects that you are resonating with, because some religions are kind of blended into each other. Like, you'll find a lot of similarities and a lot of spirituality and a lot of religious faith. But I always encourage shadow work and healing, because that really, really guides your intentions behind things. If you are someone that is quick to anger, easily offended, you have jealousy issues, you have control issues, you're going to be more prone to magic that is lower vibrational and negative and impulsive. If you're more intention, your intentionality is to be whole, is to call in what's aligned and what's healthy for you, what is ordained for you, that resonates with who you are, then when you do that shadow work with the things that that may be blocked, self-sabotaging tendencies, certain traumas, certain wounds, things like that, when you start to work through those things, the more clear your intentions are, the more of a higher vibration your intentions are. And when you do your spiritual work, the least resistance and blockages you'll find in that. Um, One thing that's very also important when it comes to spiritual work, your spiritual path in general, is working with your spiritual team. Whether you call it ancestors, whether you call it spirit guides, whatever, angels, deities, working with your spiritual team that has your best intentions, because the ancestor thing the ancestor thing, I feel like, is another misconception that a lot of people have, is that just because somebody passed over, just because, like, oh, your grandma passed away, your grandpa, or whoever, that they have to be someone that you walk with or work with. Not necessarily, especially if their energy is not, you know what I'm saying, like they weren't a good person, they weren't spiritually aligned or in tune or have that wisdom. Like, me personally, like, there are certain people that if they pass away, I would not want to work with them, ancestor wise, blood ancestral, because like Tobi was saying, he made a very good point. Our ancestors may not be people we met in this lifetime. They may not be blood related. They might be people or energies, essences, beings that we know in other spaces, and they come from other realms, other planets. If you believe in that, some people have dragon spirits, some people have mermaid spirits, some people resonate with different types of essences and energies. Some ancestors are people that walk before us that are not blood related, but historically made changes that you may be guided towards, that may be connected to. Um, you know what I mean? So it's not always about, like, oh, I'm blood related to this person, I'm automatically by default, this is somebody that I need to work with or have on my own. Like, no, no. It's nice to remember them and hold space for them, but like, no. No. Hell no. But like, walking with your divine team, walking with spirit, like, is also very important, very essential. And as Tobi was saying, it is a relationship thing. It is a relationship building type of situation. Just like with, I would tell people all the time, like, nobody can really tell you how to have a relationship with God. Like, you build that relationship with God and what God means to you, or what higher source or divine creation means to you. Like, you can go off of what the church says, you can go off of what your mother says or what someone else says, but you have to have your own personal relationship with source, God, because we all we're all unique. We're all different. Our paths, our wants, our needs, our struggles, our strengths, our vision, whatever purposes are different. They might be similar to an extent, but we're all unique. Our path is all unique. We're all on our unique timelines. So you have to have that personal relationship with spirit, with your divine team, with your angels, your ancestors, your guides, those that have you. divine beings that want to work with you, align with you, walk with you at certain parts of your journey, or help you with certain specific things where maybe some ancestors, some divine beings can't. Like if you're drawn to the Orishas, if you're drawn to saints, if you're drawn to Hindu gods and goddesses and things like that, like there may be points in times that you resonate with certain things or why you do. There could be something in your energy signature that resonates with a certain being that is similar to your personality or something that you're working through. And oftentimes, like divine, like just as people say, oh, like ghosts, this is leaning into the supernatural. So some people might be like, oh, I'm lost. I don't want to talk about that. But some people will have encounters with spirit. So when an ancestor or someone wants to work with you, they'll come to you. Just like negative beings and energies will seek you out for whatever reason, divine vibrational beings will align with you, or they'll come to you. They'll come to you in dreams, or you'll start seeing a common pattern or theme, or people discussing the same thing sometimes, or you know what I mean. Like if it's a common thing or it's something that's consistent, usually that is a sign of something to get your attention, or something or someone trying to get your attention. Um, it could be because like my clairaudience, my connection to music, that sometimes like certain songs or certain artists will come to me at certain parts of my life and I know why they're coming. Like sometimes it's not, there's a communication that's happening. Um, One of the songs that will come to me often, or I'll hear people talk about her a lot, or I'll see her images a lot, or something like that. Recently, though, I have what are those things called? Funko Pops, I think they're called. Whatever those little, they look like little toys or whatever. They're like collectible items. So I have a Whitney Houston one, and I kept noticing like it kept falling off my. Um, got like a little shelf for my little things or whatever. And she kept falling off. Like that's weird. It's a little weird. Someone mentioned her. My mom was singing one of her songs, like randomly, like things like that. You have to pay attention to little subtleties like that, but it'll usually be common, like a common theme or something that's constantly happening. But her song, "The Greatest Love of All," always comes to me at certain points in my journey or when I'm dealing with something. And every time that I hear it, I cry like a baby because I know that that's a message for me. Like that's something personally that I'm supposed to take in that moment. So when I hear it, I know what it's like. It's a message. So things like that will happen. Um, you know, so beings, divine beings, and messengers and things like that, they could come in different forms, or even your spiritual team will use something like that, like such as music. I think I've shared this before that what I'm like having a meltdown at certain points in my journey or when I'm struggling with faith, one of the songs that play randomly, like in this like the strangest things, how I know it's divine, like it'll just be the most weirdest places that they'll play this song, but Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Rant, like it'll be at the weirdest places. It'll be in passing. It'll be at a moment where I'm crashing out. Like it's weird. You know what I mean? Like yeah, it's a popular song, but it's not something that will play on the radio all the time. It's one of the, unless you got like one of those oldie stations or something maybe, but like random times on a movie or somebody's playing it in passing, or and it's also synchronistic to the very moment, like when something's happening that it'll play. So like those could be divine synchronicities. Those could even be like your ancestors saying, "Hey, don't stop believing." Like, because spirit speaks through music. You have to have a relationship with your spiritual team, which is building. As like Tobi said, this is the key. It's essential, and I totally agree with this. When you build a relationship more and more with yourself and your intuition, the more you'll be able to discern and start building a relationship with your spiritual team, because they're there. They're there for you. They is there for you. But yeah, I hope everybody's been well and everything. It's crazy, energy sometimes. It's Mercury retrograde too. The reason why me and Tobi was a little late, we was on CP Color People Time. We was on Color People Time, is because of technology. Okay, we were just trying to figure out like why can't we join? Like it was just yeah. Once you get it, you get it. You just gotta flow through the mishaps. So. Okay. What's the collective message? What's the collective message? Yeah, don't stop believing. Five of Swords. I don't know if you can see it. I don't want that glare. King of Wands. Page of Pentacles. Page of Wands. Nine of Cups. The Moon at the bottom. There's a lot of uncertainty in the collective, and it very well could be, due to the government shutdowns and things like that. We don't know what's going on. We know what's up, what's down. We don't really know, but I feel like people sense like there is deceptions and things like that happening, but I feel like this energy is testing a lot of people's faith in a sense, and not faith in humans or in men or in structures and in orders and governments and things, but trusting in self and trusting, yeah, because some of you, I can't say the whole collective, but I would encourage this though, of more going within and understanding the currents and the energy that we're in. Not looking to the TV to tell you everything, not looking for the newspaper or the news feeds to tell you what's up, what's what, but start going within yourself, because there is a lot of uncertainty. And this can apply into any area at this time where you feel like you're in a place that you're in the dark. You feel like you can't see what's going on. You feel kind of, it could be an energy of fear for some of you, but it's more so of just wanting to know what's up, like what's going on and why. The spirit is saying, well, you got to go up in here. You got to go up in here to get that clarity. Because I feel like there will be some messages. There will be some encouraging messages. Energy that's going to spark, not just clarity, but spark more of a confidence, more of a maybe some solutions to certain things that maybe some of you guys feel stuck in certain ways, and it could be different because all of you are unique. I feel like a shadowy energy with Scorpio season, but Scorpio season was clearing the shadow energy. So there might have been a lot of heaviness, heavy clearing for some of you, heavy triggers, things coming to the surface, like things that you may have even been asking for clarity, certain things coming to light. Excuse me. Some of you guys will hear some type of good news as well. Um, there's an underestimated energy. Like some people feel like this energy of lack, but you're not seeing your abilities. You have to keep an open mind about something. There's like a limited perception of belief, and like it's almost like spirit is saying a collective of people are all standing at a crossroads, and they're looking at one path, and they're looking at a path that they've already walked. And they're looking back at it like waiting for some sort of sign to say, okay, it's safe to go back, or this is the plan, this is what we're doing, this is what's going on, so we can go back to what was, when spirit is like, y'all completely missing the whole other side of what's over here. Y'all not even seeing it because y'all too busy focusing on the left that you can't see the right side of things. And the right side is not like right or wrong type, that type of right or wrong, but more so the opposite side of something. It's like if we're only focusing on one vision, we're not looking in other directions, we're not paying attention, we're not listening, or we're not feeling through, we're waiting for something. And sometimes, yes, there's a season of wait in life, on our journeys, on our paths, a season of waiting, a season of patience, a season of cultivating, a season of unpacking or shedding, purging, a season of receiving of movement, a season where we assert. Like there's, there's different points, and that's what going within is like. That's why it's so key. That's why it's so essential, because there is conflict around this. The energy is really, it's ironic. It's just so ironic. So ironic how things come together. But we've been talking about the year of the nine. A lot of other, people have been getting the spiritual drop that the year of the nine is the year of completion, right? It is the year where we purge, we clear, we close out. It is the year for introspection, but it's also a year for those that are walking the path of enlightenment and truth, those that are the wisdom keepers, those that are stepping into purpose, or those that are in a place where they're closing out one cycle so they can step into the new and step into full sovereignty. Because next year is technically it's a 10 numerology wise, but essentially it's really a 1 and a 0. So it's a point of creation, and the 0 being the void, being the portal of the space to create, where the 1 is that initiation, and also the seed, where the 0 is that void, is a place of nothingness, that place of opportunity and potential, that space of openness, that place of possibility, that energy, that essence. So when you combine the 1 and the 10, it's like it is an ending, but it's also a cycle of beginning too, of creation. It was also, 1 is an energy of independence, enlightenment, right? Truth, oneness. So while we're waiting for something or someone to lead us, that's done away with, however that unfolds, right? It is forcing that. It is not, forcing is not the right word. It's encouraging a lot of people. It's encouraging everyone, but not everyone's going to step into that oneness with thyself and with, essentially, with everyone, because it's like you're still under that rule of control, that looking for something to guide you or someone to lead you completely, where you're just stuck waiting, or where you're giving all your sovereignty away, where you're giving all of your power away, where you feel like without one system, because the truth is, the time that we're in, the system that we're used to is no more. um it's no more. It's done away with. Certain things are going to change. Specifically, the era that we're stepping into is like completely digital. Like, I'll be surprised if, I mean, if we, like, I don't know what they're going to do with paper money. I mean, if it's ever going to be a thing ever again, because it's like completely, it's been a short, slowly but surely thing to step into the digital, completely digital world. That is the era that we're in. The age of Aquarius, it does deal with technologies and strange inventions, or cutting edge inventions, rebellions, revolutionary inventions, and things specifically with technology, right? So the time that we're stepping into, I feel like it is an adjustment. It is going to be more of a time or energy, I feel like, for some, that is going to be very uncomfortable. And I know some people will probably demonize like the whole technology thing, because we've been taught, oh, the mark of the beast, this and that. But there's certain things that I'm not saying like it's all good, that we need to just go along with it, but know that because of the times we're in, that's where things are shifting to. I got off track. I don't even remember what I was getting with that. But next year is, if you don't do the cleanup work in this year, it's like you're taking all of that gunk into a year that is meant to be a year of newness, creation, fresh start, a brand new you where there's no heavy loads. Think the Fool and the Magician as year 2026. It's not going to be an easy year because it is a deconstruction. It's an ending within a beginning. So it's not going to be completely fun, right? Um, but essentially it is a necessity. It is what is needing to occur. Everything that is happening, that, like I said, is not all good. There is still that man-made shit. There's still dark forces that also are creating, that also are pushing certain things and agendas, been doing that, right? But this is an opportunity to step into more of a sovereign confident space, because you have it. It's just you're learning to listen to yourself more, so that you see yourself as the king of wands. You might start to see the potential of who you are, or get a glimpse and a sense of, I am the king of wands. And when I say the king of wands technically in the tarot, or any king, represents more matured energy, more highly initiated energy, fully self-realized in certain ways. Whereas the page is that initial start, where the page is the younger person, where the page is still the student, which we're both the guru and the student in life. Like, we know some shit, but we don't know everything. We're still learning. We're still navigating. So it's that, but it's learning that collectively how to be self-sufficient, right? How to be self-sufficient. And this is why I didn't really know how to articulate this, because I feel like some people might not be there yet with the whole ancestor thing. Like, I do work with people that do ancestor work, or that do work with deities, and walk with their spirit guides, or are concerned about how to build a relationship, where there's some people that don't even think about that, because that's not something that everyone feels is important. But like I said, without your spiritual team, without having a relationship with source, your spiritual walk might as well just be, you just gonna stumble, because you're going to be looking most likely outside of yourself with other people, trying to figure out how this person did it. Oh, I'm gonna go on TikTok, I'm gonna do this spell, I'm gonna consume and watch as many readings as possible, never once checking in with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least first, before you go out and get a confirmation or watch something just for clarity. It's like you're trying to take um all of your energy source that comes through you. You're, instead of gathering it and receiving it within you, letting it flow through you, you're seeking it outside of yourself. A lot of people are doing that, and they think that they can do it without a spiritual source of connectedness. They think it's just all, not saying like you're not sovereign and you're not powerful, but you have a team. You are connected. But if it's just like you're just stumbling, falling, trying to figure out. And some people don't even care to use their discernment. They don't care. Like, just because you watch the reading doesn't mean that you're discerning. Some people just watch it and they just solely just, they're consuming. They're not discerning. People have taken readings as entertainment for their pleasure. Just sitting, like, almost like a TV show. I'm gonna just go pop on a reading. I'm gonna just watch it for my fun, for my pleasure, hear what this bitch gotta say, or see, I'm gonna ask, how does this person feel, or how is my week gonna be like? Who hating on me? What's the tea on me? And you're sitting and consuming it, but you're not listening, you're not discerning, you're not filtering whether this is for me, this is truly resonating with me. And if it does, it's like, okay, what do you do with that information? Is it just something to feed, or is it meant to help you in some kind of way? What's the intentionality behind why you're watching, what you're listening to? If it's, oh, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest that, is your energy in a place, is in alignment to call and will that in, or is it something that you feel like some textbook shit. Oh, I gotta do this and oh, I gotta do that. There's no spiritual connectivity to it. There's no discernment to say that this might not be a method of manifestation that works personally for me, or that I'm ready for yet, or that may not work with the specific thing that I'm trying to work on. Maybe it works for a time, or works for some people, or works for some things. But what is your avenue? What works best for you? Not everybody's called to be sitting here doing some spiritual work. And like, everybody thinks that spiritual work and spells is all about manifestations and what do you want in life and money and love and fame. Sometimes spiritual work or hexing people, putting spells on people to ruin their lives and shit. People think that that's what that is for, but healing is also a very powerful source of quote unquote magic work. Like, especially for certain ancestors, they knew how to work with roots, they knew how to work with herbs and things like that. They did work for the purpose of survival and for the purpose of healing. It wasn't always about how to get a man in 10 days, or how to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always about that. And then, like I was saying earlier, when you do shadow work, some of the things that you're asking for, or you used to ask for, it doesn't align with you. You ain't even gonna want it. You're not gonna approach it the same. Whereas, like, where people do love spells, trying to attract specific people, or trying to bind somebody to them. Instead of that, when they start doing that healing work and they get out of that energy of desperation, or that energy of control, or that energy of manipulation, or whatever the intentionality is, when they start to heal, they start to want to manifest more of an aligned love, or they start doing healing work in their heart space, um, working on patience, working on self love, working on childhood trauma, abandonment wounds, things that may have attracted them to go, oh, I want this person, I want to be with this person, let me try to manifest them. Instead of doing that, when you heal those things, it's like, I want to manifest a person that is healthy and aligned with me, because sometimes people be asking to, be with specific people that's not for them. It's not meant to be, or it's just not healthy at all. It's toxic, or it's coming from a place of like, you really don't want that person. It's just a trauma bond, or it's just like something to fill an empty void. You know what I mean? All right, I'm not going to stay on here too long because, like I said, I need to get some rest, y'all. Okay, you have collaboration and setback. So your collaboration, it says great things are rarely achieved alone. When egos are set aside and mutual support takes the lead, extraordinary things can be accomplished. So that is something for the collective. Okay, that's a collective energy. But it's also going back to what I said. You can't do this shit. You can't do this walk in this life without your spiritual team. They are the angels that walk with you. Because if you know anything about spiritual warfare, like, that's real. You will have spiritual moments where you are attacked. Sometimes the spiritual warfare is within self, like all the childhood traumas, all the things that have hurt you, the people that have hurt you, the conditioning, like that within itself is a battle, right? But when you have that wisdom, when you have that love, when you have those that walk before you, those that are of higher intelligences, or that can see on the side of things that you can't see, walking with you and helping you and assisting you and guiding you, you're able to combat and overcome that. They will show you. If you pay attention to your own essence of being, you will know, okay, that's triggering me. Why is that triggering me? If you care enough to go, why does that bother me? And then you go, okay, I see why I have imposter syndrome. This is where it stems from, without self-blaming, without blaming other people, because even those that inflicted the pain on you, when you give your power away to them, when you, oh, you're the source of my pain and it's because of you, and you don't try to say, I see the source of the pain where it came from, but I'm going to unpack that within myself, because nobody's going to do it for me. Nobody's going to unpack this for me. Nobody has to live in this mind, in this body, in this heart. So I might as well love it and take care of it. And that's why I say this too often. To do shadow work or to do healing work on yourself is to love yourself, because you're saying, I give a damn about myself enough to work through what hurts me, what bothers me, what triggers me. It's easy to blame the world, and that's because you don't want to do the work. When you blame everybody for everything that has ever happened to you, and instead of saying, I acknowledge the pain, I acknowledge what that person did to me, but it's my duty and my job to heal that, to unpack that, to discern that, to understand that, whether I got to get a therapist, whether I got to sit down with myself and like unpack this shit, cry, talk it out with a friend or close ally, whatever, family member, whether I got to write the shit out, sit down, pray, talk to my ancestors, talk to God, you know, because otherwise, like without that divine collaboration with spirit and those that are around you that are divinely connected to you, because there's people in your life that spirit places there to help you, but are you utilizing the resource wisely and lovingly, and do you discern that it's even available? Because it's easy to fixate on the people that we want to be in our life who's not there, who's not doing enough, and who did this, who said this, but not paying attention to those that genuinely do care, that do give a fuck, or the resources that are there to help and assist you. You have to want to help yourself. And is it always easy? Fuck no, it's not. And it's a consistent thing. It's not just a one-time thing. Like, oh, all right, I cried about that one moment. Oh, that I had, my first heartbreak. Okay, I'm over it. But then what about maybe other experiences in love that you had that, also contributed to that past pain that you had? Have you unpacked that? Because it's going to come up. And this is why I be saying in readings, like when triggering things come up in readings, not to completely just shut it off and say, "Oh, you didn't like that. Oh, you don't gotta hear that. Oh, it's all good," because it's gonna chase you. If it's meant for you to unpack something, that's why I could tell what readers really do spiritual work, because the ones that tell their audience to to avoid, to like teach them to spiritually bypass. Oh, if you don't like what that was, like, not saying that if something is quote unquote negative that it necessarily is for you. Like if something is nasty, like someone in a reading is like, you're just a filthy bitch, no one loves you, like that's different. But if it's like, this person ain't for you, you have abandonment wounds that you need to heal, and you're like, oh, this bitch, who the fuck they think they are? It's a difference between a truth teller and someone just talking shit, right? But there's also a distinction between truth tellers and people that just tell you what the fuck you want to hear, or just let you just be, you know, complacent, or just feed your ego and tell you, oh, everything is fine. You're such a wonderful person, and everybody is horrible. They're all hating. They're jealous, or, this person, they want you back, even though you the shit. You the shit, and this person regrets hurting you, and all that can be true. But you have to be very discerning. That's why I say, like, are you watching or listening to readings or getting readings out of entertainment or to uh, fill a void in you? Are you really taking? Are you taking note of, whether you're literally taking notes or taking note mentally and spiritually and emotionally, the message that's coming through, and applying it in a way that's going to help you? Or are you just sitting there to consume and just get a reading? Sometimes, yeah, it's for confirmation. But if you're sitting here and saying, I want to hear what spirit wants me to know, do you really? Or you want to hear what you want to hear? So when certain readers be like, oh, this reading is triggering, you don't have to listen to this. It's okay. No, it's not okay. If something's triggering you, that means there's something underlying there that you need to see about. At least ask yourself the question, why is this bothering me? And go from there and dive deep, rather than projecting the problem. Why did that particular statement trigger me? Go into that, because it might not be the statement itself. It might be something completely underneath the surface that wasn't it needed to trigger that for you. So it's very irresponsible for readers to tell people it's okay to just, oh, if you don't like what was said, you don't have to listen. If something triggers you, you know, respectfully, you don't have to do anything really. It's a choice. Like I said, healing is a choice. It's an act of self love. Not everybody's gonna choose that. You might be too heavy to deal with things at the moment, but if you need to take a breather and come back to something, but not self avoid. I don't encourage self avoidance. I don't encourage people to be like, I'm just not going to deal with this. Because I notice it where, like, when I do readings sometimes, that people will ask specific things and some other things might come up, or another person that they didn't even ask about comes up, because there might be something still lingering there that you need to resolve within yourself. It's not always about like, oh, I got to talk to this person or I got to, be cool with them. But there's something within self that maybe you're still unpacking, you're still healing, or you haven't forgave, you haven't released, or you want to ask about some money, but spirit's like, fuck that money right now. What's more important is what's going on in here. And that could be what's blocking or fucking up the money, or like, keeping you with a job that's not for you because you're not realizing your self-worth, that this place is not for you, right? So it requires self-reflecting. And then you have setback. That was the second card out. So you have collaboration and you had setback. So collaboration or setback, it says the roadblock may be the universe's way of steering you towards something better, which I was kind of picking that up, where I was saying, while the collective is looking at one path that has already been walked, been there, done that, it's outdated, whatever capacity this may resonate in, instead of looking towards another direction or what's in front, it's like we either look what's behind us or we're looking at this side instead of looking at another side of things. Like we just focus on just what is, or hoping that that roadblock will be cleared in the path that we're being called out of. It's almost giving like Two of Wands energy in my mind, where the person is already made that decision that they want to move forward, that they see the grander picture, but they're still stuck in that same space of comfort rather than expansion or expanding. So I'm going to pull from the Seaborn Kipper deck. Hold on. Yes, I'm going to get off here and I'm going to relax. I'm going to chill. I'm going to relax. What is the collective? Got it. Got it. Courthouse and thoughts. I'm going to clarify because that isn't really, I'm not getting anything yet from that. Principle. Change. Um, there might be some effective protesters at some point. It could be like feminine energy or feminine energy principles that speak about a change or laws, and it may not be literal laws like governmental laws, but like spiritual laws. There's changes here, but there's people that are going to choose different directions in life. And what I mean by that is, of course, everybody's going to choose something different in life. Like, we're not all meant to walk the same exact path. But what I mean by that is, like, some people are going to choose to stay stuck, or some people are going to choose to move forward, to move in a completely new territory in their life. There's something with marriages that's important. At the bottom of the deck, you have marriage. Could be some laws around marriage, something like that, or collective energy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I feel like 2026 is gonna be an interesting year. Some things are gonna be kind of weird. Some things maybe, collectively, people that I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, people that are at higher frequencies, they're not gonna look at things the same way as people that are on lower vibrational frequencies. Some people are gonna think that hell and doom and gloom and whine and complain, freak out about certain things, whereas other people are like, we're not in that, we ain't worried about that. It's like two different frequencies, if that makes sense. um and it's different levels of it. So it's so weird how spirit's like showing this to me, because it's like there's a side over here, but there's levels to that low vibrational energy, which is weird because it's like, what? Like, it's almost like the lowest of low vibrations, but then like another low level, and then it's weird. And then over here is like, but it's also self-awareness plays a very key role in this, because we can fluctuate between thinking low vibrationally but then catch ourselves and pull ourselves back up, you know what I'm saying? Have moments where we feel good, but then we got to be honest and say, oh, I feel shitty sometimes, or I feel shitty, but I choose to stay high. I choose to look above things. And some people may be at a place where they see above the bullshit and they know how to maintain that balance. So, all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Not gonna do too much. I did want to just do a little collective read because I know it's been a minute since I've been on. We haven't really did a Ghetto Fairy Friday theme in a while. I'm gonna be honest, because I haven't had any real inspiration of like what topics I really want to majorly focus on. Um, the closer we get out of this calendar year, maybe the more like I'll have some, you know, some topics and things I feel like will be interesting to discuss and read on. But like I did want to bring Tobi on. I feel like he was very much needed as a guest. I really resonated with him. We vibe when we met. I was like, I asked him, like, if I feel guided to bring people on, it's for a reason, for sure. Like, I feel like they are um, a light that needs to be shared. So I sure do. Um, I sure do want to show love to other fellow mystics that I feel, have their own community, yes, but also share them with my community, because, like I said, if I feel there's something like Tobi's perspective, I feel like a lot of people would benefit from what you have to say and your experience, your advice, your wisdom, so on and so forth. So, we will continue to bring more guests on. I would like you guys to support them more and show more love, show up for them, because you don't know what you're going to miss out on. You know what I'm saying? And I try to, um, not just hold space for my audience, but for the people that I choose to come on here, because they're stepping out of their comfort zone of their environment, their community, and stepping into someone else's community and in space that they've created to share themselves. So I'm gonna find some more interactive ways, or ways for us to interact with the guests that we have on. Um, and yeah, so if y'all could also hold space for, the mystics of the week, and have an open heart, open mind, because you might miss out on some gems with what they got, what they've experienced, things that they want to share, just who they are, their vibe, their essence. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like this video, and I'll catch you guys back next Friday for Ghetto Fairy Friday. I don't know if I'm going to do anything before next Friday, because I've been so busy and I'm really tired. I need some rest. I need to rest my energy, relax, decompress. But I will be back. Hopefully we'll have some topics, something that inspires me for the next Ghetto Fairy Friday. But yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. And if you guys would like to book me for a personal reading, I am available. Just make sure you guys check my website for availability for booking phone sessions and readings and emergency readings. But any other readings, audio recorded readings, I am available for that. Okay. So much love. Y'all be blessed. Be safe. Take care. Peace.